Good morning. Hopefully you had all a good evening yesterday. What my presentator told, I can absolutely say the same. You need both strategies. It's not only bottom up or top down, it's both of it. So we do it the same in the client organization at this point. And before we start to implement that in a client organization, we ask ourselves, how can you do that? Because I do not get there a lot of literature. So how can you implement that in a client organization and really, in a sustainable way, bring that to a success? So I searched for some literature, but it was not possible to get there a lot of stuff. Even the client is not very often mentioned in papers for the construction process. So I step back and I go to a point where I find from Womack and Jones these ultimate customer. You know about the ultimate customer. That means in the critical part, starting point for linked thinking, that is value. Value can only be defined by the ultimate client. But who is this ultimate client in a normal construction project? I will tell you, I will not give an answer on that this presentation. So the thing is, for me were these first two questions: who is the end client, and how can this end client define the value? The point where we come to was, okay, let's search for them, because in Germany we have some companies, even client companies, they get in touch with lean construction. So ask them. We try to ask them, we try to find them, and there was one particular point what I want to make clear is I want to find there a group that is similar to this ultimate customer. And that's not that easy, because you need a customer that is also in charge as the construction client, also in charge for the facility client, and also in charge for the user. So all together in one position, and even takes the responsibility of the whole value chain. So I just take one group, and it was can say that it was more the industrial client. So we say that a responsible industrial client that said, I have to produce something, I need a building, I need to fit out, I need the equipment, and in the end I will sustain it and I will also run it. So this client, in my perspective, fits better to the point. We're saying this is our ultimate client. So we start our research and our questionnaire by 8 companies that get in touch out of the industry, that get in touch with lean construction. They were all industry organizations with in-house construction departments. That means they really have a professional construction department that really makes ideas out of themselves to change the way of how they construct things. We interviewed the persons, they get really in touch with the lean construction, and on the field or in the management, that's sometimes that was a variance. And we had 23 questions, 8 open, 15 closed. So I will not go through all these questions this time, I will just give you some examples. So we call them interview partner IPs. There, where the value for them for the construction value was something about 15 and 1 million. That depends on the company. The businesses where most of them were production, but we also get 2 of the tradings. That means supermarkets. Some they really own these markets done by themselves. So I just give one example from the questionnaire. One question was just give a prioritization of what you think is for you the most important thing for construction. Just the construction. Yeah? So this was the answer was, on top is time. I'm not absolutely sure if time is the only thing, but you see, there is a lot of other things coming up there. There's a diverse there in the different way of how they manage it, and you can see if you see in the deeper interviews, you see there is a different structure there. All of them want to be quick, but then it gets to a different way of 2 ways we found there, I think. So I will show you 2 examples of the effects and the elements what out of the questionnaire we get from 2 companies. So the first company, it was an industrial company with more than 150 million construction volume every year. What you can see is in the elements, it's a process system to increase, we made an overall process, it's a process planning, it's a bonus-malus system to get the processes into the in right order. The management of the project organization is done, and the effects are the same. So we want to have transparency for the clients, a partnership. So there are some markers, I think. Second one is preparation for standard construction catalog, documentation, organized multiple projects, modular construction. So that's the other part. Shortening of the project duration, okay, that was valuable in all of the companies, the reason. And problems with quality. Also, that this point of quality is coming up. So, we found a paper from Apayoa, I hope I spoke well, and Hapasalo, and he told about products and process standards. We always talk about, oh, this is not the product client value, this is the process client value. But nobody really wrote it. Nobody really say, okay, there are a difference between it, and completely difference. This is completely a different perspective. So we try to find this. So what is the normal way in an industrial company, how they get to these decisions? Thank you. Corporate strategy, at first, of course, it is always a big picture for the company. The second one is the real estate strategy. There is from the the building strategy, they find there the best way to balance the buildings all over the world. And then it comes to the lean construction concept they use. But they were completely different there. And we found that the product strategy and the process strategy, where we just structure it because the different behavior of how they implement things then. So, for us, it was that in the product strategy, it's more about the building standards, it's more about prefabrication, modular construction, reducing variances, and optimizing their product. In the process strategy, we have a production system, we have more these collaborative systems, and we have also contracts that fit all together. The last point we have there was we try to bring them into, how to say that, in a maturity model, where we on one point say the lean implementation, how far they are, so they can rate themselves. They can tell by themselves what kind of level they have. We use the table of Shu from 2013, and this is from ad hoc phase to lean optimized phase. And then we try to order them in the right point to process and strategy. Process strategy and product strategy. And this was what in our interviews come up, was that you see that there is two or barely between process and product strategy. So it's not that you just have this strategy or this strategy. There's also some companies, they have both strategies in mind and try to make them possible. But there are others, they are absolutely in the process area or in the product area. So that's the point where we come up, and I'd love to have discussions with you about these results. Thank you.